The start of a new season is always exciting, but for the 2016 Mazda MX-5 SuperCup, expectations are particularly high, with no clear favourite emerging pre-season. It was a damp Snetterton 300 circuit that greeted the drivers for the first round of the championship, and it was James Blake Baldwin who held onto the lead from pole at the start, ahead of the returning Tom Roach. Several drivers struggled in the greasy conditions, but not Roach, who took the race lead away from Blake Baldwin halfway round lap 1. This allowed Henderson to close in and eventually pass the pair of them and take the lead, with two near identical passes on consecutive laps around the outside of Rich's. Further back, Alex Preston, Jack Harding and Will Chappell fought over 6th place, although Harding would later spin himself out of contention at the ever-tricky Rich's. Back at the front though, Roach tried everything he could to stay with Henderson, but it was the AK Automotive driver who would hang on to start his title defence in perfect style. Roach was second and Blake Baldwin was third, and this was therefore how they would start for race 2. Thankfully, conditions were far better for the second race, and this promoted even closer racing than in the first encounter. Henderson held on to the lead initially, only to lose out to Blake Baldwin at the S's later on in the first lap. Roach followed him through, but the three continued to swap positions for several laps, closely watched by Johnny Greensmith in 4th, who had lost touch with the leading trio in race 1. Blake Baldwin eventually hit the front again with a brilliant move at the S's around the outside to get the inside line to the Nelson right-hander, but still couldn't escape at the front. That was until Roach suffered contact with Henderson, leading to a puncture at the bomb hole, which held up Henderson and Greensmith enough to give Blake Baldwin that much important break. Greensmith and Henderson continued to dice over second place, the position changing hands several times until this grassy moment for Greensmith allowed Henderson to make the position his own. So Blake Baldwin took the win from Henderson and Greensmith, and therefore leaves Snetterton just 1 point adrift of the reigning champion in the points. It had been a successful weekend for all three podium finishes in race 2, and consistency will be key as we move on through the rest of the season. Speaking of consistent weekends, Liam Murphy and Will Chappell see themselves both move into the top 5 as a result of 2 solid finishes, but with plenty more racing still to come this season, only one thing is for sure: it's going to be a hugely competitive year of Mazda MX-5 racing.